The disputed site of Al-Aqsa is a huge factor in Hamas's attack on Israel. In fact, the militant organization described the surprise assault on Israel on Saturday as an operation in defense of the Al-Aqsa mosque. In fact, this has triggered yet another conflict around the disputed site. Now, this particular site is among the most contested and conflicted religious sites in the world. So, well, yes, the Al-Aqsa mosque was actually one of the immediate reasons behind Hamas's attack on Saturday. Let's try and decode the Al-Aqsa factor for you. So Al-Aqsa essentially is a holy site for both Muslims and Jews. Where is it located? Well, it sits in a 35-acre site. It's located in East Jerusalem that Israel actually annexed back in 1967 during the Arab-Israel War. Now, it's largely considered occupied territory across the world. So Muslims call it Haram al-Sharif, and it's the third holiest site for the Muslims after Makkah and Medina, and the Jews call it Temple Mount. Now, the Al-Aqsa currently is managed by a trust controlled by Jordan. However, it's important to mention here that Israeli forces have a huge presence on the site. Now, initially, Jews and Christians were allowed to visit the site, but they were not allowed to pray inside the mosque. But over the years, due to the presence of Israeli security forces in the past couple of years, they've started allowing Jews to actually pray at the mosque. In fact, Israeli religious nationalists and leaders have started making several visits to the site, and that is being allowed by Israeli forces. In fact, in its statement on Saturday, Hamas said it in so many words that Jewish prayers at the site amount to aggression, and this aggression has increased significantly in the past couple of years. In a sense, making it clear that one of the central reasons behind this unprecedented escalation that has led to the deaths of several hundred people, both in Israel and Gaza, was actually the Al-Aqsa mosque. But this is not the first time that this particular site has actually triggered a military offensive. In the past as well, there have been military uprisings centered around the conflicted site. Back in the year 2000, right-wing Israeli leader Ariel Sharon visited the Al-Aqsa mosque, and that led to the deadly Second Intifada. Now, the Second Intifada was essentially a Palestinian uprising. It lasted for a year and killed approximately 4,000 people, including 3,000 Palestinians. So that visit was extremely controversial. But in the recent past as well, there have been many clashes centered around this particular conflicted site. There was a 10-day deadly conflict between Hamas and Israelis 2 years back in May. And more recently, there's been a conflict just 2 months back. In fact, Hamas has been objecting to the increased Israeli presence at the Al-Aqsa mosque, and the latest flashpoint was a visit of Israelis, this Israeli right-wing minister to the site. For many, it was reminiscent of the visit of Ariel Sharon that led to the Second Intifada. So it's an extremely sensitive issue and has resulted in horrific bloodshed in the past as well. And now militant groups say that the presence of Israeli forces and visits, these repeated visits by Jew nationalist leaders, actually amount to desecration of the mosque. In fact, in its statement, Hamas actually has called its attacks on Saturday as a revenge for the desecration of the Al-Aqsa mosque. So it indeed is a very important factor in the recent escalation.